Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We have a little bit of a different video this time. I'm going to be interviewing one of my students who managed to pull out 10K in like less than 10 days from Top One Futures. I've been working with Alejandro for a handful of months, and we're just going to break down his process, his journey, what he's learned along the way, and we'll just jump right into it.
It's Alejandro. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I'm 24 years old. I've been trading for about 2 years, 4 months, and 21 days now. I started January 1st, 2 years ago.
2 years. That's insane to think that you're hitting 10K in literally like something that people dream of hitting that in a couple months. You hit it in a couple days, it feels like. So
Yeah.
let's kind of walk back. What were some of the first introductions that you had into trading? Where did you start? What kind of systems were you looking at? Was it always futures or where were you?
All right. So, in the very beginning, I got introduced from trading actually in 2020, but it was the IML stuff. But I wasn't really
Mm,
learning trading back in the day. I just used trading as like the face of everything. But it's more multi-level marketing and stuff like that. So
gotcha.
I don't really consider me. That's when I really started. I really started again. Uh, 2 years ago. So I was actually I work at JetBlue right now. I'm a supervisor there, and before I got promoted, there was a group of guys that were always sitting at the computer tables, and they were looking at charts. And I'm like, yo. And before I even started, I was like, yo, starting in January, I want to get back onto the charts. So that kind of like confirmed it for me. Like, all right. If I said that and I go to work and I see guys at the chart
Mm,
there, 'cause I was still new, but I didn't know how to approach him yet, so I just let it marinate a little bit. And as time went on, I just hear them talking about the charts and this and that. And so I was like, let me just go introduce myself. Um, and honestly, from there, it's been history. We just never stopped ever since. I still talk to those guys every single day. We have a group chat, and
mm,
we all grew all together. Like I'm not the only one making money now. I have all of them are
yeah.
making money. So it's actually cool that we just all started together. We all just grew together, and it's actually cool to see that we none of us gave up because all of us could have gave up, but not a single person gave up on each other. So that's kind of how I got exposed to trading. Um,
It's
but in the beginning, it was rough. Like I was learning Wyckoff, smart money
mm,
concepts, supply and demand, support and resistance. But it was a lot of on and off because I didn't know how to really structure the learning. I was paying for certain things, for trend lines, all this different stuff, but I didn't know how to make it understandable
mm,
enough for me. But
right.
looking back at it now, I feel like all those things that I went through was to build me up for the person I needed to be today. So, for example, I was doing all that stuff, and then one of my friends had found this guy named Stacy Burke, and he was on
Yeah.
YouTube. He's throwing out free trading videos over there. The inside days, first green day, first red day,
Mhm.
three pushes, all this stuff. So I was all right. I'm gonna stick with this for 6 months, and if I don't see no changes in those 6 months, then I have to do something. So that was from January. So that was this year going into year two from January to June. I tried it,
Mhm.
I learned it, I'm studying it, but it felt like it just wasn't for me 100%. Like I feel like it was too subjective still. The entries weren't clear. Like I didn't really understand when to enter. Like I knew
Mhm.
how to frame the structure of like inside day is the first green day. This is that. But all right, now how do I enter this market? You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yep.
understand this, but like what is my trigger point? And his trigger
Mhm.
point was just like the EMA, the five that was the five EMA, and when it touches the 5 minute chart, it touches it pulls back into your enter. But it still wasn't clear to me. It was just like you have to look for an engulfing, whatever. So
I find it funny or interesting, at least that you bring up that name. That's a channel I'm familiar with. I've studied
yeah.
so many different stuff. Yeah, like but just based on how you trade right now, it does make sense that that's something that you studied in the beginning because I mean, when you start to look at like market maker models, you start to see
Mhm.
a lot of similarities with when they talk about the multiple levels of it rising and then you looking for that reversal pattern. But I do agree with the I guess the criticism with knowing when to get in. I always struggled with that as well. Knowing Wyckoff, knowing what you're talking about with the Stacy Berg YouTube channel, these things they were not very precise on when you enter. Having read
Yeah.
Wyckoff textbooks, they'll tell you the structure, which is great. It's good to understand market structure, but that's only like half of trading. The rest is knowing when to get in. So you said that's, I mean, also it's really great that you started with a group of people and they stuck to it. That won't
Yeah.
always be the case. A lot of people drop off. A lot of people, you could give them all of your effort and it still won't be enough for them to want to even put some in for themselves. So, yeah, that's a good fundamental base to build. And you said that you just had this basically a thirst for knowledge. You kept trying to learn and study different methods. Do you feel that, and I agree too. You spend a lot of money on different courses. And I mean, I could think back to when I was trading options, I would always invest in different softwares and all these different things. It's just
Yeah,
part of the game, right? You got to kind of waste the money to know, okay, this is necessary and that's not. And,
yeah.
but
It's just that's the tuition, like everybody says. You got to pay your dues, you know.
Absolutely. I don't know if you can learn without taking losses, and I think that's super important to anyone, especially watching this channel. You're going to see reality. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. We go through losing streaks. It's not all, easy to get to the 10K point where you're making. Now, how much has it been in the last, with just top one with 150K accounts? What have you ran up so far?
So the first payout, I ran it up to 20,000, and
Hmm.
then again after that was I think another 15.
That's insane.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, this is the best I've traded in a long time. I feel
Hmm.
phenomenal right now. You know what I'm saying? But I think what also
Yeah.
helped me was obviously we'll get into like what helped me. We'll build up on that story, but also just like
Hmm.
having the straight to funded. I don't have no pressure on having to pass a challenge and wasting good PA on a challenge. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
got my funded account and I have a large drawdown. So like with this 6K
Hmm.
drawdown, I feel like I can actually take a loss now. Like it doesn't cost me as
Yeah.
much as a
Yeah.
50K where I have 2K
Yeah.
drawdown. I lose $200. That's 10% right there. It's like damn. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
The
with
psychology
the
is so
bigger
different.
drawdown is
Yeah.
yeah, with the bigger drawdown is like my psychology is a lot calmer. And I think that's also helped me a lot, and also with your help as well. But
No,
yeah.
I know from working with you, one of the biggest issues we would have is like you'd be like, "Hey, I got funded, great,"
Mhm.
and then I'm like, "All right," so just know like there might be an easy day in the market, and then you roll into like maybe an inside day that shows up, and you're just like you just get
Oh,
chopped to
I
death.
wrecked. I'm getting
Yep. And
wrecked.
then you're just like you waste all your good effort and your good edge on an eval when instead like that doesn't count for you at all. And I know a
No.
lot of guys, and myself included, I trade to pass the eval, but it's not the
Hmm.
type of trading that gets me to the payouts. I always,
Right.
I mean, all these firms they incentivize you to pass in 2 days or 1 day or whatever the case might be. And it's ultimately building bad habits. So you feel that getting straight to fundeds helped alleviate a lot of that?
Oh,
I mean, because it's
100%.
been night
Because
and day. It's been night and
yeah,
day for you.
100%. Because like now I'm trading because I want to pay. I'm trading like I'm supposed to be trading. I'm not over here doing these bad habits trying to pass in 2 days, maxing my account and all those different things. I'm actually doing things with structure, and with the structure is giving me the payouts now. So I'm not wasting no good PA right now. The market is
Mhm,
bearish, and I'm just following the
mhm, yep,
trend. I'm just riding the wave.
yep. Yeah, it's interesting. It really makes me wonder what the motive is. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's good to pass an eval maybe one time,
Yeah,
but if you can prove that you can pass an eval with a firm, why do they make you do it again? And then why do they make you do it for every account? You
right.
know, is it really to help you, or is it just to kind of get in your way? Like, and to that point, when you first start, you feel like it's such an accomplishment, and then you see all
Yeah, we
these
really
guys that
do.
do
Yeah,
it. Like, yeah, and you're like, man, I did something, and
yeah.
then you take your eye off the ball, and then you get hit upside the head with actual price action. But it's all part of the game, in my opinion. I do agree the straight to funded's been such a tremendous option. You've been trading with Top One. Use my code. 150K accounts are half off right now all month for anybody interested. I mean,
Yeah, take
Alejandro walks the
advantage.
walk. Yeah, he walks the walk. You made 10 grand. He's got the payout certificates. He's got everything. How do you feel? How's it feel to make 10 grand out of thin air?
Yeah, it feels good, man. It feels really good. It's a little
So
surreal, but it feels good.
yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, whenever you make big money really quick, you always had to kind of be like, is everything still there? You kind of have to make
Yeah,
sure you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
dreaming,
It's
like
like
pinch yourself. Yeah.
yeah. That's exactly how it feels. Yeah, pretty much.
So you mentioned working with airliners. What do you do to keep your schedule on check? Because you have kind of crazy hours sometimes.
Oh man, yeah. My schedule is a little messed up. So right now I work overnight. I'm a supervisor for JetBlue and for Lauderdale. I work overnight. That's from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. So, but my job is pretty cool because we could do deals and stuff
Mm,
like that. So I'm a little bit more flexible. So I ended up as soon as this bid came out, I'm like, all right, how can I make this job so that it's not in my way 100%. Because if I go to sleep at 5 in the
right.
morning, it's hard for me to wake up at 9 and trade. I'm losing.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get full sleep. My brain's not gonna be fully functioning, and I'm gonna feel tired, and then I'm gonna not be able to function or execute the way I'm supposed to. So what I do now is I do a double on Thursdays, and I do straight 9 to 5 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So which is perfect because now
Hmm.
I could free up my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So
Hmm.
Sunday night, I go to sleep at 5 in the morning, and Monday I don't trade at all. Monday I get my sleep back in, and I trade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because those are the days I'm off. Obviously self-explanatory. I can go to sleep normal times for Tuesday, Wednesday, and
Yep.
then Thursday I wake up, trade, and then get ready for work because I work at 1 o'clock from 1 p.m. to 5 in the morning. And then Friday I don't trade at all because I do a double. So Friday I sleep in as well.
Hmm.
And then the weekend during the day I just use it to review, practice a
Yeah.
little bit and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it.
So there's really no excuse for anybody, even if they have like a crazy schedule. There's always a way to kind of work around it. Maybe there's certain days where you cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Maybe there's certain sessions that you might gravitate towards, and that's ultimately going to be your greatest strength as a trader is being able to adapt to whatever life circumstances are going on, whether it's good or bad. There's always going to be something that you can do to prevent yourself from being in a just a bad scenario. Like going into the markets tired, your perception of
Yeah.
risk is so much more skewed than if you had a perfect night of sleep. Like sleep deprivation is pretty close to just intoxication when it comes to how it impairs your judgment of things, especially risks. Risk.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm tired, like you don't even care. You'll be just throwing
Yeah,
full
you're like,
clip
oh,
after it. Like,
I lost a
yeah,
thousand. I lost another thousand, whatever.
yep,
You
yep.
know,
And you're like, wait, this is a 50K account. I just, you
I
just
just
carried
you
it
just
real
blew it. Yeah,
quick.
you're like, damn,
Yep.
what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But by the time you
So
realize what's happening, it's too late.
yeah, yeah. And using the Project X platform as well can be pretty beneficial for traders. They can say ahead of time, you know what, I'm only willing to lose. Like for me right now, I'm being kind of conservative. I'm only risking at most 1700 on a day on
Yeah.
the with a 6K drawdown. So it's like, you can definitely play around in there a lot. Um, but yeah, what would you say for management? Like what's been something that's helped you keep more of the profits than you've given back?
Oh, the risk settings on Project X.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, as soon as I hit my profit target, I'm done. I'm not trading anymore. The account's locked. If
Gotcha.
I lose a certain amount, the account's locked. My hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. And I also put a trade limit as well. Like so, lately
Gotcha.
I raised it a little bit more because like the price tag's been a
Mm,
little bit crazy. So you might need one or two more extra shots in there before the
yep.
play actually happens. So I've been doing like 4 to 5 trades a day.
That's good. I mean, I always tell people, and you know this obviously, you got to start with something super basic. So most people cannot control their ability to like hold their, sit on their hands. So they have to just press the button all day. I tell them, okay, two trades. And to a point, it'll help you a lot. However, it's not because it's the two trades, it's because you're practicing discipline. It's being mindful with the trades you take. Once you start to develop, get a little more consistent with what you're looking for, yeah, you can play with those numbers. Maybe you want to trade a couple ideas and you don't even have
Yeah.
a limit on the trade number, but that's a personal decision. I would always say fixed risk per day is always a great idea. Don't ever
Yeah.
risk like a random amount. Just say, you know what, I don't want to lose more than a $500, $1,000 a day, because then when you could keep your red days normal, you can actually perform well on your green days and not have to make up your drawdown. So, with this market in particular, what kind of setups have been doing you well? I know a lot of traders are struggling right now. You're killing it. What is the what's the one thing? What is
No,
it?
just a continuation short, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's very broad, right? But you've
Mm,
actually helped me with this because there was times where, like, we have our model 1, 2, 3, but I was still
mm,
entering in the wrong areas, or I wasn't entering, or like I was still staying on the lower time frames, forgetting, hey, I got to go back to the higher time frames. So now, like, when you told me, hey, all your trades should look very similar, that really cleared it up for me. I'm like, all right, what does he mean by this? And then and then
mm.
you started the Discord and you started trading live for us. It's like, okay, now I'm watching you live. I'm watching how you execute. I'm watching the areas that you're executing in. You're giving little tips and tricks there that you might not even think they're tips and tricks, but like because I'm paying attention
Right.
so
Yeah.
much, I'm picking up on these very small little details and I actually use them. And like for example, the 5 minute. When you see the 5 minute folding, all right, now what's the
Yeah.
1 minute doing? The 1 minute is either creating a change of state in delivery or an inversion or something like that. So
Yep.
and but that hammer is getting put in place at the proper place, which is the higher time frame level, like a 15-minute fair value gap or after a sweep or something of that nature. So like that's what I've really been looking for. I've been looking for a sweep of a high, or we're pulling back to a fair value gap, or maybe like for example today, price was rejecting off of a 1 hour order block. So you can look for stuff like that. So higher time frame levels 100%, and just go in the way that the trend is going. So that's all I've been doing.
That's awesome. I mean, you put together a lot of things right there, a lot of things that people overlook, honestly. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's understandable, unless you're doing this every single day and you're chipping away at something, you don't build that familiarity with price. It doesn't just happen by accident. You have to be
No,
actually
yeah.
getting the reps in. And yeah, there's a lot to be said when people want to say stuff about fair value gaps or this or that. It really shows that they don't look at price the way that they need to. Because, like you just said, what often forms a wick on a 5 minute might be that change in state or that inverse on like a 1 minute. They don't realize
Yeah.
that it's a speed type thing. So if a wick is forming, it has to happen within a certain amount of time, and
Hmm.
it has to be quick up, quick down, which typically will be a broad candle than a broad candle and giving you the
Yeah.
inversion. So these things can be used in context. A lot of times traders get trapped trying to buy that fair value gap that turns into the inversion, not being aware of the higher time frame. So I'm glad that you're leaning into the continuation models. I mean, it's really something that it kind of takes care of itself as long as you're able to manage the risk properly and not be overly tight.
Yeah.
I know for me today, I've seen some volatility that like I've never seen in my life. Like it was so
No, this is
crazy.
this policy is crazy, dude.
I tried shorting the open. Like I tried shorting the open and like I kept getting wicked out. And it was like a 10-point wick on a 1 minute candle on ES. I'm like, how? And I would try it again because I'm like, there's no way it's gonna come back up in the same minute. It came back up, got me again. I'm like, I don't
All
understand how
right,
this is
yeah, all right.
happening.
You want to fight, brother? You want what's up?
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, I'll just wait. And I finally got the short. I mean, I
Yeah.
got it, like at what cost? But like, man, I'm telling you, the amount of just back and forth on the candles. I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
pays attention to that stuff, but if you try trailing, like you'll see a candle, it's got 20 seconds left. That thing will come all the way back down and then close at the highs still. And you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
Like, what's the point
it's
of that?
been a
Sometimes, all
tricky.
right, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you just
that's
you
why
gotta roll with
that's
it.
why I said earlier. Like I've been instead of doing two trades max, I have put it up a little bit because sometimes you might need
Yeah.
the extra bullet or two because something like that happens.
Yeah.
But
So do you think
what?
there's let me ask you real quick. Do you think there's an
Yeah.
issue with somebody what's the difference between over trading and then trying the same idea if it doesn't work? Like maybe you have a
Mm.
fake out, right?
Yeah.
What's the
What?
difference?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like if the difference is that you're still firm in your idea, and if it's still showing you
Mm,
sign that your idea is still valid and not invalid, and then maybe it was just a sweep or a fake out, then why
yep.
not try it again? You know what I'm saying? But someone overtrading, they're probably just within that same little time frame, they're going short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long
Yep.
instead of staying with the same idea. So I think that's the answer there for that.
I agree. I think that's a great answer. I would even say there's an opportunity for you to try the opposite of your trade if it's like showing that it might invalidate it. But if
Yeah.
that setup fails really quick, then you're like, oh, got it. Okay, my original idea was right. Because you always do have to hedge for the idea that you could be wrong. But if you're just going back and forth on the execution, guys, like you're not going to
Yeah.
ever find consistency because consistency is typically found with bigger ranges, not just small, tiny back and forth trades. You need to be able to catch those big trades. And that's ultimately what comes from the model. Even if I have a day where I get chopped up, none of my losing trades are like some random like 50 points. It won't be like just a
Yeah.
major run against me. It'll be chop, 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 and then I catch a big win. Which would you say a lot of your trading has been catching those bigger moves, or what has it really
Oh
been primarily around?
man, I feel like I'm just entering all in the right spots. All my trades,
Gotcha.
especially last week, all were insane. I'm entering the market, and the market is moving 180 points within like
Yeah.
5 to 6, 7 minutes. I'm like, yo, this is insane. I don't even have to risk too much.
Yeah.
The max
Yeah.
at the max I think I put was two minis, well 20
Mm,
micros, whatever, same thing. And the lowest I put was like 10, which is one full contract,
yeah.
and the thing is running 200 points. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insane. You know what I'm saying? So
I
I feel like
really,
I'm entering in the right spots. But hold on, real quick to circle
yeah,
back
no,
on the
you're
over
good.
trading. I could definitely agree with that as well. Like sometimes you have to hedge your ideas because that's what I've tried. That happened to me also last week, where I have this idea and I'm hedging it because I got wicked out whatever. It looks like it's going to invalidate
Mm,
my first idea, and then I just use that as information because I watched you do that.
yep.
Sometimes you just got to collect the data, and then as soon as I
Mm,
see what's really going on, I'm like, oh, this is it, and I hammer it, and it flies. I'm like, oh yeah, let's
yeah.
do it. So
That's
yeah,
good. That's great. I'm glad you're picking up on that as well. I have
yeah,
one of the main things with that. I read a post the other day. It goes markets markets they primarily operate around a few different criteria. One of them is going to be rotations between like long, short, and different indices and sectors and whatnot. But the other one's regimes. understanding that markets will operate based on whatever narrative is in charge, right? And for
Yeah.
me, one of the things that I've struggled with is I haven't been able to catch high risk reward trades to the upside because of the underlying weakness in these rallies.
Yeah.
However, when I read that, I go, oh, okay, I got it. Because last year I was like a risk reward monster last year. It was easy for me. This year has been
Yeah.
a little challenging to the upside until I started to realize that I was too fixated on bullish setups. And I've
Hmm.
started to try, engaging with some shorts, and the downside edge is it's tremendous. You
Yo,
literally just get in a trade, understand that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market and there's a lot of repricing to the downside. It's not like market structure really. It's pricing it lower. That's
yeah,
it.
it's lower.
It's not
That's
like a
it.
matter of
Yeah.
it's not an argument, it's not a debate. It's going lower on a lot of these days. And if you're not involved in those cascading moves, then you're just honestly trying to catch a falling knife. So regime is a big one. I noticed there's a difference. Like what you could do a lot this year is you see a strong rally and you see it start to consolidate. We saw some of this last night in Asia. And honestly, as soon as it fails to go higher, you can get short,
Yeah, you can get
assuming that
short.
it's going to invert something. Yeah. So
Hmm.
these overextension plays, when it comes to the continuations, the short term overextension on a lower time frame, you short that all day. Any
All
inversion,
day.
short that all day. You can just you can hit it
Yo,
really, really, really aggressive. Yeah.
inversions are working right now so well, bro. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, it's just because it's just so one sided. It's very monotonous and monotone with how it's moving.
Mm.
But when you understand that the regime determines how price is going to move, then you really are understanding narratives. And I mean, we can see every macroeconomic person out there saying all this stuff about how, Powell's the best, yada, yada, yada. And what Trump's doing is reckless, whatever. You guys can just keep talking. We'll just look at price and keep trading. So
Right.
it's just, yeah, regime is a big one. That's the one that took me a minute to adjust to. But yeah, you're on top of it. You're just hammering those continuations. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. But I do want to ask, we'll get into a couple questions and keep this kind of brief for everybody.
Okay.
What kind of advice would you give to yourself from 6 months ago? Like to get you to where you are now faster?
Oh, just listen, brother. Because, well, for example, when I first started my mentorship with you, I was hard headed. I didn't listen for like the
Right.
first like 3, 4 months.
Yeah.
You were telling me do one thing, one thing, one thing, and I'm like, man, fuck that one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Right.
But it took me that long to realize, okay, maybe I should listen because at the end of the day, you have more experience than me. So, and this is what I'm paying you for. You know what I'm saying, so you have the
Right.
experience that I need to walk the path much faster. So I decided to just start listening to you and to really start picking up those little things that you wanted me to pick up. Um,
Mm.
and along with I also paired up your mentorship with Tanner, the strong trader,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he helped me a lot with my process 'cause I never used to journal before. I didn't know how to journal, so he helped me a lot there as well. So just listening, man, just listening and just and staying submitted to the process, and eventually you get there a lot faster than what it took me. I mean, I still did it in a pretty decent time, but it could have been a lot
I would
shorter.
say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny because I do the same thing sometimes. Somebody will tell me something and I kind of just, but
Yeah.
then I'll
Whatever.
remember it like 4 months later. I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why it happens, but every time I'm like, I almost feel like I had to go tell that person, like, hey, remember what you said to me 6 months ago? They're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you
Right.
told me something. I just did it and then it worked. So,
Yeah, but hey, but
yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
sometimes you just have to touch the stove a couple times. Like I got burnt all over. Like it is what it is.
yeah.
I learned that. I got third-degree burn. I get it. I got it now. What you were saying was right. I should have been listening from the jump.
Yeah, it happens, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome though. I'm glad that that's one of the biggest lessons that you could have because honestly, a lot of people do make this harder for themselves by either two things. Either they're learning the wrong stuff or they're not
Hmm.
applying the stuff that they learned. So, and in your scenario, it's like you had a lot of good information. You started to really codify your model. I've always thought your charting was on point. Like you knew what you
Yeah.
were looking for. It just came to the execution side of it. And then ultimately trying to force it too quick, and it creates a lot of the
Yeah.
same shit I would do.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of the same shit I've done
Yeah.
for like the longest time when I was first starting. So
Yeah.
yeah. What are your next goals? Like what do you want to do for the next you're still young. Like what are you planning on
Yeah.
for like 2026?
2020. Well, for the rest of 2025, I'm just gonna run this bag up,
Yeah.
and then 2026, I would like to get into like real estate or more long-term plays. That way, I have
Cool.
the money that I make this year to start growing for me. Because what I see about what I see a lot of traders do is they make the money and they spend the
Mm.
money. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But we also have to understand that the money that we make isn't guaranteed. Like, yeah, I made this amount of money this month,
Yeah.
but next month I might be in the red, or I might do this,
Oh
I might
yeah.
do that. And
Yeah.
ultimately, like I just, and, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and ultimately, I want freedom. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
this trading is my vehicle to get the freedom that I want and create passive income. That way, I can eventually leave my 9 to 5 job and I do trading as my main thing, but I also have different sources that I had built within the couple of years. So, I think that's my long-term plan. Just really starting to build passive income within 2026.
That's awesome. I love that. Build the base and then let the rest follow. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people have it backwards. They care about the flash, but they don't care about the actual flame of what they're doing. So
Oh,
that's
that was
awesome,
fire.
man. We'll kind of, yeah, there's a little heat at the end.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
drop it
yeah.
real quick. But I'll have all of your info in the description. You guys go ahead, check out Alejandro's Instagram, his YouTube. That's coming soon. We'll be in touch. And anybody who, if you enjoy this type of content, leave a like, share, and we'll talk soon. So I think you just have to